What's going on YouTube? So the Hyundai Tucson has quickly become one of the most popular offerings in the compact crossover segment, which is America's best-selling segment. Now, we have sampled in the past a fully loaded model, but what happens if you don't want to spend over $40,000 on your compact SUV, which is most people? Well, you could choose something like this. This is the Tucson SEL Convenience, and you can get this for as little as $33,000. So for this much more appealing price point, what do you get? And is this the best value to buy? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Let's start out with a quick spec dump. Now, under the hood of the SEL Convenience trim, you can choose either the straight gas option or the hybrid powertrain. We've got the standard gas option, which is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with 187 horsepower. That's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and with all-wheel drive, we have 25 mpg combined.
Now, the base price for this SEL Convenience is $33,000, and you can have one as little as $28,000 in the base SE trim level. And if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we can't wait to take this out for a spin and show you what it's like out on the road. While we're out on that spin, we'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, and after that, discussing resale and reliability.
But of course, we need to close up the hood so that we can see what you get on the exterior as well as the interior. So starting out with the exterior design. Of course, when it comes to the Tucson, it always has had a very bold design with this generation of model. With the refresh, they also tweaked a few elements, and in terms of this trim specifically, this SEL Convenience, not a lot is different from other trim levels. You will notice that distinct upper fascia. You've got the new flat logo, kind of a thicker silver finish down here on your lower fascia to give it a kind of more rugged vibe. And then in terms of your lighting, you are always going to get standard LED headlights on every single trim level. These are reflector LEDs. You have to get the limited if you want projector LEDs, but you still get the really cool turn signal and daytime running light, which is integrated into the grille itself. Now moving on to the wheels, most of the trims did get new designs this year. Here's what we've got with the SEL Convenience. Though it's an 18-inch alloy, it's kind of the right in the middle option. It's got that very geometric shape going on with a contrast finish. I think it looks fairly premium, especially for the price point. You will also get a little bit of squared off cladding that goes around the wheel arches as well as the lower part of the body. Now, as far as the mirrors are concerned, your most important features are present here, which are blind spot monitoring and heating. You also have the turn signal indicator built in.
Now, at the side of the Tucson, the overall vehicle length is 182.7 inches, which is actually a decent size for this segment. And as you can see, there are a lot of different shapes going on here in the door panel itself. Now, as far as some of the design touches, we have this chrome piece that kind of sweeps into the rear, and we also do have roof rails up at the top. Now, moving around to the rear design of this Tucson SEL Convenience, you won't really notice any differences among the different trim levels because it's just going to have that same Tucson design. It's a very bold look overall, and for the refresh, they did tweak a few little elements. Now, up here at the top, we have a spoiler. Our Hyundai logo is going to be integrated in the glass itself. And then if you choose this SEL Convenience, starting here is where you're going to get the LED taillight unit. So that includes like your Fang portion through here. Your brake light is also LED. However, you will still have an incandescent turn signal and reverse light that will be integrated down here in the lower bumper. Speaking of the lower bumper, this is going to be slightly tweaked for the refresh model year. And you'll also notice this tow hitch. That's because this Tucson can tow up to 2,000 pounds. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, I'm happy to tell you that regardless of what trim level you select in the Tucson lineup, you will have all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment. Now, if you choose this SEL Convenience or above, that will also include things like Highway Drive Assist. But let's go ahead and dive into the interior and see what you're going to get in there for the price. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now let's move to the cabin. First, here's our key fob. The SEL Convenience comes standard with a smart entry system. This is Hyundai's newest key fob, as you can see. It also has remote start built in as well. And that means to get inside, you're just going to grab behind the handle and unlock the door. Now, taking a look at the interior, just like the rest of the trims, there's some big updates for the 2025 model year. And focusing on what you specifically get with this value-oriented trim, well, this is the trim level where you get upgraded to the H-Tech. So this is a leatherette as opposed to the cloth that you get as standard. Pretty realistic feel to this. I also think it would be pretty durable as well by the feel of it. And you can get this in either the gray that you see on today's tester, or you can get this in black if you prefer. We also have the standard power adjusting seat with two-way lumbar support. No memory seats though on this model. You will have to get that top limited. But let's go on and climb inside. Now, closing up the door, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials first of all. So over here on the armrest portion, we have a piece of leatherette through there. We have through the center section actually hard touch plastic, but they designed it to look almost exactly like the cloth from the limited trim. So that's very interesting. Visually, it does look super similar. Then you've got a strip of leatherette. Then you have a hard touch plastic on just the very upper part. As we move to this part of the dash, all this is finished in that same leatherette with a stitching detail, more of the faux cloth trim that runs through the center section. And then down here along the console, this is a hard touch plastic, but it feels very nice and solid. And then a little bit of use of piano black right through there. We'll fire it up with the standard push button start. Let's jump right in with our gauge cluster. So actually new for 2025 is the fact that the SEL Convenience trim now gets the full digital 12.3 inch gauge cluster. So that means you can reconfigure various parts of that entire design through there. They also change with the drive mode. No blind spot camera though, unless you get the limited trim. Now as we pull back to the steering wheel, this is also the trim level that adds the leatherette wrapping around it. You also have manual tilt and telescoping. And then let's turn over here and take a look at interior storage. So let's go on and actually talk a little bit about the shifter kind of first. So, because this all impacts, you'll see in a second. We have the T-shaped shifter on board. So you can pull back, you can bump over here to shift manually. And when you go into reverse, here's your standard backup camera. As you can see, you do have active trajectory on board, but this does not have parking sensors. And then you have an electronic parking brake. Now, what I was mentioning, though, with the overall storage situation is because this actually is standard with the gas model, but if you choose the hybrid model, you're going to get a different configuration to this overall storage solution. So you might have seen that if you've seen our previous one of the hybrid limited Tucson, but that will change this console arrangement to give you a floating design because the shifter is actually up here on the column. It's an electronic style. So whatever your preference is on that, just be aware of that when you choose your powertrains. It will impact this overall arrangement and shifter style. Now, as far as what you get on this as equipped, well, still plenty of storage really, because inside our center console, we've got donuts. And when we load it down to check the volume like we do in all the vehicles with the donut test, it hits a dozen. So that means it passes the donut test. That's quite nice. Furthermore, almost all the trims are going to come standard with a wireless phone charging pad that's located right there. And then you've got the huge passenger storage shelf, which can be, of course, utilized for various different things. Kind of has a designated zone right there for your phone. Now, moving back over here to our center section, this trim comes with the dual zone automatic climate control system. So you can just adjust your temperature nice and easily with physical controls. You'll have some touch sensitive controls through here for your fan speed, as well as your heated seats. So 3-stage heated seats are included. Of course, ventilated seats, though, that will require the fully loaded model. You also have a row of volume controls and other audio functions right through the center section. This model comes with the 6-speaker sound system. That's what is included as standard equipment on all the trims except for the limited. And let's give it a sound sample. Kind of a little bit of intersection between two different songs there, but overall sound quality of this system is pretty good. At this price point, it's definitely more than really what I expect, but obviously if you want that top tier sound system, then you're going to need to choose the limited trim. One thing you will not have to choose the limited trim is, of course, to get a nice infotainment system. So this is the 12.3 inch display. It's part of that kind of dual screen arrangement that Hyundai's been moving through most of their entire lineup. Inside of this system, called CCNC, you're going to get things like wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard equipment. That's what you see displayed on there right now. When I go back into Hyundai's main infotainment system, as you can see, this also gets built-in navigation on this trim level. Overall performance of the system is pretty snappy as well, and it pairs to your phone ultra fast. Now moving up top here, you can see we've got an auto dimming mirror. And then I'll slide back the sunshade for the standard size sunroof. A panoramic one is offered, but you will need to go up the trim structure.
So let's talk about the rear seat in this Tucson. So this has always been a really nice place, and for the refresh, that certainly doesn't change things. So let's talk about space first and foremost. 41.3 inches of legroom and about 39 inches of headroom. Those are really good figures. As a matter of fact, in this segment, that makes it one of the very largest, if not the largest option in the entire segment on paper. It's going to be bigger than stuff like a Toyota RAV4, very close to something like a CR-V though. Now, as far as our official Car Confections knee measure, we brought the official Car Confections ruler along to get that. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". I am 5'9" for reference, and we're sitting at 9 inches of knee room. That is really good. My feet can also easily slide up underneath of the seat, and the seats, you may have already noticed, can recline quite a good distance, and they can recline even more than that. Now, if we fold down the center armrest, we do have 2 cup holders inside. They are a little bit on the smaller side, but they do still fit a bottle like this. And then as far as in the center area, choosing an SEL trim or above will get you these rear vents, so you're not going to be too hot or cold here in the rear. You also have 2 USB-C ports in that center section. Now, as far as the door trim is concerned, they have cheaped out on this. This is going to be hard touch really from top to bottom, so all the middle part is hard touch, and even this armrest portion is hard touch. I'm disappointed by that. I really wish they had made that a leatherette, because that's going to be quite uncomfortable, but we do have a little bit of bottle storage underneath. Now, walking up to the tailgate of the Tucson, we do have a hands-free power tailgate on SEL trims and above, so really most of your models will have that. And as far as the space is concerned, I think you'll also be very pleasantly surprised with this area, because the Tucson is very large for the segment. We're sitting at 39 cubic feet behind the second row of seats, and around 75 cubic feet if we fold those seats down. Now, as far as how that compares to the competition, that is a very, very good space figure. It's really only smaller than something like a Honda CR-V. And by the way, if you're curious as to how this might compare in other areas, besides cargo capacity, such as technology and powertrain choices, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. The reason you do that is because this segment is a hot segment, and we've reviewed all of the options and ranked them in individual categories that might matter more or less to you, such as technology, interior luxury features, powertrain choices, things like cargo capacity, all of those things, resale reliability, they're all detailed for you. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, back to the Tucson, we have a 60-40 split folding rear seat area. I really like that they're including handles to fold the seats. I don't know why that's not exactly folding. It's probably just stuck a little bit there, but super easy to do that, which is definitely nice. Most in the segment do not include a feature like that. And then now that the seats are folded completely down, I'm going to have to go up there and push that seat down a little bit. And now that I've gotten it locked into place, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures in case you're looking to haul something specific. 74 inches of length behind Drew's 5'8" driving position. Behind the rear seats, 38 inches of length. As far as opening, it's going to be 42 inches wide. Cargo height, 31 inches. And cargo load-in height. Oop, goodness, dropped my tape measure there. Okay, we are sitting at about 28 inches for our cargo load-in height. Underneath of the floor, at least here on the gasoline model, we do get a spare tire, as you can see underneath of there. And we also have a 12-volt outlet as well as some LED rear lighting. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Hyundai Tucson. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, but first we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Alright, there's 60. Got the red light coming up here, but we did make it up 260 with our standard gas powertrain. So like I mentioned at the spec dump, this is available in both the traditional gas powertrain or the ICE, or you can get a hybrid if you prefer that as well. As far as this system is concerned, it's a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. So fairly standard issue compared to a lot of the rivals. Maybe a little underpowered, but not significantly.
Yeah, overall it seems fine. We've reviewed quite a few products with this exact same powertrain under the hood, and it's adequate. However, for those of you that want a little bit more power, I would recommend getting the hybrid because that is going to give you more power. As far as what that's sitting at, that's going to be sitting at 231 horsepower, which is up 5 horsepower for the 2025 model year. For the refresh, it got a little bit more powerful, and that does make it significantly more powerful than this, and especially that electric torque off the line. We've lived with the Tucson hybrid for a couple weeks actually in this new generation, and it's certainly a very pleasant vehicle that has enough power.
Now, as far as the transmission is concerned, you have an 8-speed automatic transmission with this engine, or a 6-speed automatic transmission with the hybrid model. Both of them are nice and smooth.
Yeah. And since we're going 55 miles per hour, I want to go ahead and get our sound level reading so we can see how quiet it is here in this Tucson SEL Conveniences cabin. We'll go ahead and toggle it to fan speed 1. Very nicely done. 56.6 decibels is what we are sitting at as our sound level reading. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to other compact SUVs because we can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And pretty much that is going to place it in the lower third, so the quieter third of the compact SUV segment. That's pretty good sound level reading overall. And honestly, though, even though this is not the fully limited trim level that we tested out earlier and many times before, this trim level still does feel very premium inside of this cabin. It feels quiet and hushed, just like the limited model does. So I don't think you're really sacrificing much trim level to trim level, unlike some of the rivals, which can kind of, get rid of your sound deadening as you go down the trim levels. And I also want to take a second here to talk about ride quality as well. That was one of the very first things that I noticed when we got behind the wheel of this SEL Conveniences. First of all, these seats are really incredibly soft and supportive. The headrest is just in the right spot, and the ride quality is really good. You'll see that as we go over that bump right there. It does a great job of just soaking up the bumps. It's a super comfortable riding vehicle, and honestly, because we don't have the larger wheels on the outside, I think this is even better ride quality than some of the other versions that you can get.
Yeah, for sure. If you're thinking about road trip vehicles, and a lot of these that get used by families to go on road trips, I think you're going to be real comfortable in a seat like this and with this type of ride quality.
All right, so let's get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element. Drew, kick us off with the Slam Dunk.
I think the Slam Dunk obviously has to be value. You've seen throughout this video, you really get a lot of stuff packed in for what is, by today's standards, just a terrific price tag. You know how expensive everything has gotten, so it really strikes as a great value when you're talking about that low 30s price point for this many features.
Yeah. Now on the flip side, when it comes to the airball, what we're going to say is, first of all, the power. So it's going to be a little underpowered in this gasoline variant, and the fuel economy. So I haven't even hit the fuel economy yet, but it is lower than the other rivals, even the gas-only options like the RAV4. So we're sitting at 26 mpg combined with all-wheel drive, so that is definitely going to be on the lower end, that's for sure. The hybrid as well is sitting at about 35 miles per gallon, so when it comes to the hybrid fuel economy, that is also going to be lower than some of the rivals, so just keep that in mind. You'll pay a little bit more at the pump than you could get in a CR-V or RAV4 respectively. And I will just quickly mention before we wrap up here, the plug-in hybrid variant, for those of you interested, that has 268 horsepower, so that's going to have even more power. It is available in a limited amount of trim levels, so keep that in mind. So that's worth noting. 32 miles of all-electric range, though, for that one. So if that's something that interests you, you certainly do have a good option here with the Tucson plug-in hybrid. And let's talk pricing for the Tucson. So as I said at the very beginning, we start at $28,700 for the SE model. This SEL convenience starts at $33,015, which is the same price as the XRT, if you might want to cross shop with that trim level as well. Now the limited's about $38,600, so that's quite a bit more expensive than this one. Now, what we have today is the SEL convenience. We also have the optional all-wheel drive, so that's going to cost you a little bit more. So our base price is $34,515. We have the available white paint color, which you certainly wouldn't have to select, and we also have quite a few accessories, which I think are pretty unnecessary, so you don't have to get those either. $1,450 destination, we're sitting at $37,305, really as a fully loaded SEL convenience model, which I think represents a pretty good value for what you're getting here. Now, if you're looking to buy a Hyundai Tucson or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. We even have a monthly payment tool, so if you'd like to check all of that out, you can find that in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's go ahead and talk about resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Hyundai Tucson's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 55.3% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 19.6%. Now, it's worth noting those are actually above industry average for all vehicle brands. However, it is going to be still less than some of the Japanese rivals you may be cross-shopping with, such as Honda, Toyota, Subaru, or Mazda.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, with our latest 2025 data, Hyundai is just ever so slightly below the overall industry average.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our reliability information, our resale data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicles.
What is wrong with you?
Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different... Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, as far as your warranty is concerned, you do have a 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary maintenance period for 2025 model year. Hyundai is eliminating that for 2026, though, so keep that in mind. And you have a 5-year, 60,000-mile basic warranty and a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2025 refreshed Hyundai Tucson SEL convenience. If you enjoyed watching this trim level specific review on a very popular product and trim level, we'd encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get more car reviews such as this. You're also going to get car reviews on brand new models out, so I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.